All right, it's November, I guess, 13th at this point, and it's another rainy day. This is the back of our house, of course. There's the bulkhead. That's the septic emptying port. And this is one of the downspouts. And one of the fun pieces that we did was we had gutters put on years back, so that's good. Get the water away from the house. But that one up there drains into this one, which then drains here, which then, of course, goes into the yard. No big deal in general, right? Except in wintertime, what happens is the septic is here, and if I walk straight back from it, I walk towards where the distribution box is, which is about here. And if I look straight back, one leg of the septic went there, the other leg went there. Well, over the years, that sort of got depressed, we'll say over 10, 15 years after we bought the house. And so all this water that you see here would shoot straight over and, you know, kind of go underneath the swing set. No big deal, except in winter when it becomes a glacier, right? So I've done a little bit of digging here to help guide the water out. That's a little low spot I filled in a little bit, but in general, it comes down this way, and you know, some of it still goes, some of it of the water comes down and goes that way a little bit. But I made this cut this past spring, and what's nice, this swale, I dug it down, of course, with the backhoe, like 6 inches maybe, and now the water gets diverted, and of course there's a nice thick forest here to capture the runoff, and then, you know, there's our leaf pile over there. But this is good. And I can mow over this and it's no big deal. And then I'm looking back at the house here. So it's raining enough, and it's been raining enough, the ground is saturated to show this sort of stuff. So that's good. This past spring I also filled this in, probably a little late, so it was hard to get the grass growing. I did some filling, did some seeding. Over here where it's this is looking south, there's more shade here, so this grass grew better and filled in that depression. So that's our story. We got the water diverted. That's cool. And now this area here, for the most part, is a lot better. You know, there's still water that pools here, and then it eventually goes down through the forest near that log. That's pretty good. I see we still have some water here, but you know, c'est la vie. We get a little bit of dirt. I keep throwing sand under there to keep that elevated, because even in winter we want to play. Now the other fun part is that over the years we've added some rich loam, so to speak, and other rich organic soil to the garden here that I'm walking through. I just ripped through here with the backhoe the other day, just knocking some stuff down. But that's elevated this ground. So before, perhaps the water flowed a little bit better going that way. That mossy area and those logs, that's sort of a natural low spot. So what's happened is that on the uphill side here, and it's so flat, it's hard to say uphill without water actually being here. Again, here's the house. Is that in front of the gray shed here, the water would pool up and it becomes sort of a lake in here. And then eventually it would drop down. Now let me pick up these wedges here. Got some wedges for splitting. Throw those in. My felling whatever, wheelbarrow. So this area in front of the shed here, especially, the water would literally come up to here. Not so cool. I did add some more dirt here as well, but under these circumstances where it's raining a heck of a lot, it still builds up. I added some dirt over here more recently, so now I've got some dry land to walk on. That's kind of nice. And on the other side of this maple tree here, that's been a little bit of a low spot. I cut it down a little bit. I discovered that I had to cut this down quite a bit. So if I get down low, you can actually see a little bit of how the swale is. So I had to cut this down quite a bit, probably 8 inches or more in depth when we get over here. And of course there's a nice little tree here that we got, so I don't want to get rid of that. But I had to cut this all back with the backhoe. This is very rocky soil. But now at least the water is draining, because for lack of a better term, uphill is that way. The backhoe shed is on top of a pile of gravel, no big deal. But that's uphill, and in general that's downhill, and then from this point, downhill, and in the back we have a stream that cuts across and joins with another stream down over there going that way. So yeah, we cut this down. Now the water goes down here, hill here a little bit. I've got a couple of little mini berms to help slow things down, have the water end up in the yard, end up in some dense forest. You know, we leave the debris on the ground a bit, just to keep things from washing away, let the wildlife have its fun. Here is a low spot, of course, in the yard. The overflow of this, so to speak, is barely visible, but it comes through here. And then eventually it goes down to the stream. So yeah, this is what's going on in terms of drainage in the yard. You know, it's draining from the corners of the house back towards me. And then, of course, off to the side over that way, too. So yeah, this is quite a bit of water. A little bit's going this way. Ending up down over here, another low spot before it starts going down the hill here. I dragged a log through there a while ago, kind of made a little ditch. I'll fill that in, but the moss and everything else is growing. That's the story. Fun times in the Walters yard. Let's see what else. I tried digging a little bit here. That didn't go anywhere because it basically goes uphill into this moss patch from this puddle. So that's the thing, even though it looks flat, it suddenly becomes not so flat. That's the story of that part. Now if we go down our hill here, what's nice is, and that's our old front steps. Bye-bye front steps. Got the new ones in. Built the corduroy road ages ago into the back area, crossing the stream. That's our log bridge. And water's flowing pretty darn well. We put a few rocks here and suddenly we have quite the little pond here and waterfalls. Just trying to keep it from eroding too much, but it's looking good. There's the bridge. And then there's the back property, which is pretty well high and dry. And it slopes down this way, and then again goes straight out, and then eventually this kind of joins another stream that cuts in from the right, and the end result is it eventually, you know, a mile or two that way goes downhill and crosses 119. More like a mile or so through the woods. Alright. Thanks for watching.